can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. It's too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. It's too easy. It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Boy, all that like Keenan. Still got crack, they fiendin'. Flow still hot like Phoenix. Shine so bright, I'm gleaming. This off top, I'm tweaking. Fresh out the rat like Neiman. And I'm still tryna fight my demons. Cause we all gotta act like Tina. That's why I gotta ride with the Nina. Outside, it's a war going on. Make me put my hands on my head like the Macarena. They want you walking on board like Kima. Ain't give a F to you like John Cena. Putting blood on the brand new Beamer. Tryna earn they stripes like Adidas. You get cold when you ride with the heater. It'll turn you to a dog like a Keeta. And exposed to a cat like a cheetah. They smoke my partner like reefer. Dímelo porque o no entiendo. Mi gente must really need Jesus. They shed real blood. I never seen the crypt and I believe it. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes.
Welcome in. Happy Monday, everybody. Sean, what's up? Dewan, what's up? Happy March Madness time. Finally, it's here. We have a bracket. And I couldn't be more excited. Chris, what's up? All right, so we'll talk a little bit about the weekend. Here's the plan. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to talk about some stuff today. On stream. Tomorrow on stream will be like a normal day because we have play-in games tomorrow and we also have the NIT starting tomorrow. So there's definitely going to be some stuff that we're betting tomorrow. We had a lot of success betting on the NIT last year. So we'll be giving out some betting picks on stream tomorrow for the NIT and for the play-in games. The tools on the website will also be updated for like NIT games as well. That includes it. So tomorrow on stream will be a normal day on stream. Today we're going to talk about some stuff and then I'm going to get out of here and finish up working. I got to type out all of my stuff for the members. So if you want to, Mitch, what's up? If you want to sign up, betkarma.com/pricing, you get access to the tools. First and foremost, moneyline predictor, total predictor, all that good stuff for the tournament, for the NIT, all that stuff will be on there. And since it's a monthly package, you also get carried into MLB as well, with that starting up in not even a week. We have those 2 games, and then the next week, the actual regular season, like the actual slates get going of a bunch of games. Obviously, I'll have daily betting cards I post in the Discord. But today, later tonight, I'm going to have a full, this is for members only, regional preview, East, West, Midwest, South regions. I'm going to type it all out. I was up late last night. I was in T-Max Spaces until like 1 a.m., which was absolutely comedy. If you guys were in there listening to that, it was hilarious. After that, I got all my notes together, so I got to type it up. I will have regional previews. I will have super important notes on both systems and trends that I use to fill out my brackets, my pool of like all the teams that I'm considering not only to win the national title, teams I'm considering to make a run, teams that I think we should fade and not take, teams that can lose in round 1, teams that can win a few games, all that good stuff. I got all my notes together. I'm going to type it all up into clean articles for you guys tonight, region by region. And then either tonight or tomorrow morning, I will record a YouTube video where we talk about the bracket. I'm not going to give out all the goods on the video, but that will be out tomorrow. If you want me to specifically focus on the bracket more so than betting, that'll be out tomorrow for free. But the regional previews, written stuff is all for the members, the tools for the members, my betting card for the members, all that good stuff. And I also will be posting my brackets that I, depending on pool size, what I'm going to play, strategy, all that stuff, I'll post in the Discord as well. Chris, thank you for the shout out. Appreciate that. Unaffiliated with Bet Karma, but it's worth it. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. All right, let's talk about it. If you're in the chat, let me know. Engage with me. Let me know what your thoughts are early on this bracket. I'm going to pull up. I have the odds up here for the first round games. I posted 3 early bets in the Discord last night. We did get positive CLV on, I think, all 3. But we're gonna just quickly look at these betting lines for some of these first round matchups. We'll talk about it, and then I'm gonna pull up some Sweet 16 odds and stuff like that, and look at some potential future stakes that we can take. But if you're in the chat, engage with me. Let me know what you like. Mike likes the Tar Heels. Interesting. Interesting. Mike, are you a UNC fan? I don't know if I knew that about you. I thought you liked Duke. Stephanie, what's up? Shout out to Stephanie, long time member. We appreciate you, Stephanie. Mike, I thought for some reason you were a Duke fan, but maybe I'm just completely off on that, and you're a UNC fan. Yale and UAB upset for round one from Sean. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So I think Yale is an interesting topic of conversation. I don't think, as of now, I don't think that they can upset Auburn, but Ivy League teams in round one the past few years have been very good. Ivy League teams have actually fared pretty well in the tournament. Princeton went to the Sweet 16 last year. I think it was like 8 or 9 years ago. Cornell went on a run to the Sweet 16. Ivy League teams have performed well in this tournament. Auburn is a great team. I still have questions about them, though. Yale plays extremely slow, which I think is beneficial for teams looking to pull off an upset. And Yale does have Danny Wolf, but I don't know. I don't know if they could beat on him, but that's an interesting call, Sean, because I do think I don't know what the line is. I'm definitely interested in Princeton, not Princeton. I'm definitely interested in Yale betting, like taking the points. I don't know if they could pull off an outright win though. But where's the line at? Like 12.5 points you're giving me. I would be a little bit interested in that. Drake beats Wazoo. Tej, I like that. I like that. HU going to shock people from Dewan. Tej, we bet. I grabbed Drake at plus 105 last night. And they are now, we got a ton of movement on that because I'm pretty sure they're favored now. Last time I checked. Let's see here. Yeah, they're minus. We got them at plus 105. They're minus 126 now. So that's good sign for us. I like this Drake team. If you guys remember to last year, I liked Drake as a round one upset over Miami. Miami got by with some fluke shit all last year. All last year, Miami rode fluke shit to the Final Four. They were down, I think, 8 points with like 6 minutes left in that game against Drake. They somehow came back and won and then went all the way to the Final Four. So I like Drake as a sleeper last year. Clearly the path was correct because Miami beat them and then went to the Final Four. This Drake team is better than last year's Drake team. DeVries did not play good in that game last year against Miami. He's going to play better. He's going to play better this year, and I think the team is better. So I certainly think, like I said, I bet them. I definitely think this Drake team is really good. So I could definitely see them winning. Love Morehead State as well. Spread. Yeah, I like that as well. Public's heavy on it. Is that true? Let me see if I don't know if the BK tool is updated yet. Let me see. Mike, UNC fan, but Duke gets literally every recruit I want. Okay. That's what I thought. Dom in here. Shout out to Dom. If you guys are not following Dom on Twitter, go give him a follow. He's a very good college basketball bettor, and he tweets out his bets. Shout out to Dom. St. Mary's Elite Eight. I like that, Dom. That's one of the things that really stuck out to me first and foremost is that Vegas. I feel like the general consensus among people last night was that UNC has some easy path to the Final Four. Vegas does not agree. They have the worst odds of any number one seed to make the Sweet 16, and they're not even favored. They're the one seed. They're not even favored to win their division. Arizona is. Obviously, they have a tougher path, I feel like, given those their second round matchup and then potential Sweet 16 as well. So I definitely don't hate a St. Mary's play, taking them potentially over UNC. I do not hate that whatsoever. Grand Canyon plus 5.5 against them. Can we talk? Can we talk about Grand Canyon? I watched that game Saturday night, that was the worst basketball game, I've ever watched. 2, what it was going on, there's no way anyone will convince me that that was not a rigged game in favor of Grand Canyon. I don't know if I've ever seen a team get 50 free throw attempts in a game that didn't go to overtime. In regulation, Grand Canyon shot 50 free throws. And their opponent, UT Arlington, for the game, turned the ball over 26 times. 26 turnovers, 50 free throws. And at one point, with under 3 minutes left in that game, it was a 4-point game. I've never seen anything like that. That was absolutely insane. And I don't think anyone was paying attention because it was on in quite literally the middle of the night. That game took forever because the refs just called a foul every single time somebody got the ball. That was crazy. I want to see if this tool's updated about that Morehead State thing. Let me see. Duquesne's coach is retiring after the tourney. Yeah. So if you guys don't know, Keith Dambrot is the Duquesne coach. It did come out today that he's retiring after the season. He also famously coached LeBron James' high school team, St. Vincent St. Mary, when they went on their run with LeBron in high school. Keith Dambrot was their coach, and then he moved up to the college ranks. I don't know, Sean. That I kind of agree with you that I think that they could be a narrative win, but they got severely overseeded. Like I don't think they should be an 11 seed, and they're playing a team that got severely underseeded, whereas BYU should be a 5. And I'm pretty sure they would have been the highest 5, but because of them not being able to play on Sundays, they had to get moved down to the 6. So they got a really tough matchup there against BYU, and they kind of got like overseeded. I do not think Duquesne's an 11 seed, but I definitely get what you're saying, Sean. And Duquesne does play slow, which, like I said, fits into that. It's more likely for a slow paced team to pull off an upset. From what I saw on Action Network Public, betting system Morehead. Okay, so our tool gets it directly from DraftKings Sportsbook, which I think is a little bit more reliable than that, just because Action Network Public Betting is like taking the percentage of people on their apps of what they're putting in, and not an actual true consensus of like what the public is taking on a sportsbook. But I'll look into that and report back later on in the week, because I can't. The app is not working. I don't think it's updated yet, but it probably will be soon. So we can get some. Can you see this on? I think you could just see it on FanDuel. Let me see here. Yeah. So on FanDuel right here, if you click this stats thing, I don't know if this pulls parlays too or not, but it has 62% of the bets on Illinois, but it's 50-50 on the money. So Illinois still looks like the public side from what I've seen, at least based off this FanDuel stats. I don't know if these numbers pool just spread tickets or if it's including parlays and stuff like that too. I just don't know. But yeah. All right. Let's go through some of these games and keep the comments flowing. If you guys have anything else that you guys like, let me know. I definitely like that Morehead State play. I really like that team. Our biggest bet for conference tournament futures was on Morehead State to win theirs. They were only like plus 120, but that was the biggest wager that we had placed. I think that Morehead State team's very good. They can shoot the 3 really well. They have someone that can take over the game in Riley Minix, and I just don't like Illinois. So it's kind of like a perfect storm. A team that I had penciled in that I like, and then they're facing a team that I definitely think can get upset and is not very good. So not that Illinois is not good, but they're not good on defense, and that really hinders you in these tournaments. Play-in games, I think Virginia I saw was super public here. 55% of the bets are on Virginia, but 54% of the money's on CSU. That's an interesting one. I don't know if I'll bet that game. Creighton future of a ticket. Yeah, Mitchell. So we have a future on Creighton. I do think it has a chance. I don't think Creighton can win the title. They're on my list, but they're at the very bottom. I do not think right now they could win the title, but we don't need them to win the title, Mitchell. What we need is Creighton to get to the Final Four, and we can easily hedge that. So I do think they have a chance. I like their path. I'll talk about it more on the bracket video, and then obviously in my content. But yeah, I definitely think we're live with that ticket to at least hedge out of it. I think they have a good path to get to the Elite Eight, and then we'll see what happens. They do have a little bit of a scary matchup round one against Akron. I didn't love seeing that, but if they can escape Akron, I like how they match up round two versus whoever they play. I like how they match up against Tennessee potentially if they play them. And then if they see Purdue, I think that'd be a really fun game. Edey versus Kalkbrenner. With how Creighton defends playing drop coverage, really, really good guards can kind of carve that up. Would the Purdue, we know they want to run through Edey. So would Purdue's guards, Braden Smith, Jones, would they step up and be able to take advantage of that defensive scheme of Creighton? I don't know. So, and I think Kalkbrenner would bully Tennessee down low. And Tennessee's also been extremely fraudulent in tournaments under Rick Barnes. We can't ignore that fact. So I like Creighton's path. If they can get past Akron, I think they have a really good chance to get to the Final Four. Akron is scary because they defend the three very well, which we know Creighton is very live or die on the 3-point shot. And they have an absolute stud big man to just at least match up with Kalkbrenner. So Akron is a legit scary first round matchup. I liked Oakland plus 13. I don't hate that. I'm definitely lower on this Kentucky team than the majority of people. I do not think, given their defensive lapses, that they could make a Final Four run. And if I'm not picking them to go to the Final Four, Kentucky's going to be a pretty popular pick. I haven't dove into the public pick percentage numbers yet. I won't do that until I make my content later tonight. But I'm going to be lower on this Kentucky team, I can already tell you, than the majority of people. So if you wanted to get crazy, I think that's fine. Oakland is a good team. Oakland's a good team. And it doesn't even matter. It's just because Kentucky's so bad defensively, they can lose, they can win, they could beat anybody, they can lose to anybody. Love New Mexico, Tej. I bet them last night as well. That was one of my first 3 bets. I really like New Mexico. I really like how they match up with Clemson. I was high on this Clemson team in December, but I don't know if they can get enough defensively out of their guards to not only advance multiple games, but even advance past New Mexico. I mean, that's the strength of this New Mexico team is Dent, Mashburn, and House, extremely good backcourt, and they're hot at the exact right time. The Mountain West tournament is not an easy tournament. There's several good teams. You can see how many teams they got into this field. New Mexico made no issues with that tournament. So I really do like New Mexico in that first round game. Chris said Oregon versus South Carolina. I like Oregon there. I'm fine to fade South Carolina. The metrics don't love them. Oregon, under their coach, has been very profitable against the spread in the NCAA tournament. And they got a good team. They have a good big man. They have experience. They're an older team. So I do like Oregon a little bit in that game, Chris. I think that's a really fun first round matchup for sure, though, too. Will a 1 get upset? Not in round 1, but I mean, definitely, it's not going to be all 1s in the Final Four. So eventually they will, but I don't think a 16 will beat a 1 this year, no. This is a really strong group of 1s compared to seasons past. Last year, I was very low on Purdue. This year, I'm not as low on Purdue. I think Purdue's a very good team. I think Houston's a very good team, and I think UConn is the best team in the country. So this is a strong group of 1s compared to what we've seen the past few years when I was really down on Purdue. I don't really have anyone that I'm really down on this year. UNC is my least favorite one, but I don't think they're a bad team by any means. Not bad enough to where I would pick against them in round 1 for sure. Yeah, Mike, I said I think I'm fine taking Yale points. I don't think they can upset, but Ivy League teams in round 1 have been very profitable betting on them. Auburn, like, is very good. I still have some questions. I got to really think about them. But yeah, Yale, you could certainly take the points with. I don't know if they could upset though. I don't know if I'm falling for them, Mike, but I'm definitely higher on them this year than I have been any of the last 3 years. I mean, I completely faded them the last 2 years, which worked out well. I'm not at that level with them this year. I still think that I think they're better this year than they have been in years past. Specifically offensively, they're third overall in offensive efficiency on KenPom. They've never been that high with Zach Edey on their team. They're the second rated 3-point shooting team on KenPom. They've never been that high with Zach Edey. They can score more than they've ever been able to with Zach Edey, which helps when I think it's going to help them in the tournament because games are not going to be called by the referees in the tournament like they are in the Big Ten. The Big Ten really caters to Zach Edey. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. He's not going to get some of the calls he gets in the Big Ten games in this tournament. And when you're trying to run your offense through him, a lot of that in the Big Ten, that they rely on that. And that's not going to be the case in the tournament. So I think the fact that they can shoot better and score better than they've ever been able to, that's a big, big factor for me in the tournament. I don't know if I'm going to pick them to win. I probably won't. But I do think that this Purdue team is significantly better than last year's, for example. McNeese versus Zags. This is like the game of the first round that everyone's to talk about. Coming into the tournament, I was like, I really want to be interested in McNeese. I don't know if I really like that matchup for them against Gonzaga. It's going to ultimately depend how popular of a pick they are. I like this McNeese team. I do. But I don't know. I got to wait and see where the pick percentage resides. And then you said A&M over Nebraska. I like A&M over Nebraska. I like A&M potentially to beat Houston. I think that that's a terrible matchup for Houston. Both those teams live and die rebounding the basketball. So if you're talking that, Houston's main strength is how good that they rebound the basketball. If you're putting up A&M against them, which it's the same thing, I think it's a bad matchup for Houston. I don't think Houston wants to see A&M. I think they would much rather face off with Nebraska. And then if Nebraska's not hitting their threes, they would take their chances with that. I don't think they want to see Texas A&M. Texas A&M and Houston played earlier this season. Houston only won by 4 points. Wade Taylor gave him 34. Wade Taylor gave Houston 34. Think about that. Houston has not allowed guys to go for 34 against them. Jamal Shed on Evan Mia is graded as the number 1 on-ball defender in the entire country. And Wade Taylor gave him 34 points. That's insane. That's insane. And Wade Taylor has shown he shows out in big games against high-ranked teams. Houston does not want to see Texas A&M in that second round. Yeah, Sanford, Kansas is interesting. I got to wait and see on the health. I won't have a take on that until I know who's playing. If you had to make me guess right now, I would say McCullough plays and Dickinson does not. But I'm not sure. Favorite round 1 upset? It's not an upset because they're favored, but New Mexico over Clemson. I mean, New Mexico as an 11 seed after they just won the Mountain West tournament is egregious. They're better than Clemson, so I don't understand how they're an 11 and Clemson's a 6. It's horrible seeding, so I would say that. I thought that would be popular, but at least early returns on the pick percentage, large majority of people are picking Clemson over New Mexico. I don't understand this. I don't know. If that pick percentage holds, it's definitely New Mexico because New Mexico's A, favorite in the game, B, the better team, and C, not getting picked anywhere close to a team that's favored in the game should be. Last night, it was like 65-35 in favor of Clemson, which I thought was insane. It should be 50-50, if anything. Like, I thought that was crazy that 65% of people were picking Clemson, especially after New Mexico just won the tournament. Like, I thought that they would be more trendy, but I guess not. Dayton versus Nevada isn't a great game. I agree with that. Dayton is a team I've been lower on through the course of the season, but I kind of like their draw because I definitely think they can beat Nevada. I like this Nevada team too, but Nevada under Steve Alford has been very, very bad in the tournament, especially against the spread. Let's find that game here. Nevada's a 1.5 point favorite, so it's super close, super close. And I kind of like their draw because I actually like this Arizona team. But if we got a potential Dayton versus Arizona game, that would be a great matchup because Holmes is definitely able to match up with the Arizona Bigs. Dayton's a very good 3-point shooting team. And if they get hot, I mean, they can definitely run with any offense. So I actually hope Dayton does win because I want to see that Dayton versus Arizona matchup. I think that'd be very, very fun. So that is a fun game. Early lean for me is actually on Dayton, even though I had Nevada circled as a potential Cinderella team like coming into the year, but it doesn't look like it's working out that way for me based off their draw. I prefer New Mexico's draw, for example. And I want to see Dayton versus Arizona, so I'm just like biasly rooting for that because I want to see that. No way I put Purdue in the Final Four. I don't care how easy the path looks, it will choke. Yeah, Jeff, I would agree with you most times, but I did point out that Purdue has never been this good offensively with Zach Edey on their team, which helps that helps counteract the fact that they won't call the game the same. So let's look at 2 years ago, Purdue. 2 years ago, Purdue was extremely bad on defense, so it didn't matter. They were 93rd defensive efficiency on KenPom. It didn't matter what they did. You can't win when you're that low on defense. So it's not shocking they got upset. Then let's look at last year with Zach Edey. Purdue was 7th overall, and they were 24th on defense, 12th on offense, right? 24 and 12. 12 is good. That's respectable. That's respectable. But this year, they're 3rd overall, right? 3rd overall on offense, and it's a large difference. Last year, their number was 117. It's up to 125 this year, and they're the 2nd best 3-point shooting team in the country. So that's going to help them tremendously if Edey's not getting calls. Still a terrible. I do not disagree, Jeff, with the terrible coach. I don't like Matt Painter. I have no rebuttal to that. Completely agree. Do not like Matt Painter, and I'm not saying you have to pick Purdue. I don't know if I'm even going to pick Purdue. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'm just higher on them this year than I have been in past years. The past 2 years, it was very clear. Do not take them. This year, I think it's more of a conversation. Charleston plus 9.5 versus Bama. Probably not for me. Probably not for me. I don't really want to touch that game. That's the game with the insane total because both those teams can score. It was the highest total ever for a while. It's come down a few points. It's at 172.5 now. It was like 175 for a minute there, but I'm not super high on Charleston overall, so probably just an avoid for me. If you want an upset that's not New Mexico, I would probably lean towards. I guess Texas A&M over Nebraska. I really want that because I want that Texas A&M Houston matchup for sure. Drake over Washington State. It's technically not an upset considering they're favored, but seeding wise, that would be considered an upset. I do like that Drake team. Morehead State over Illinois. I'll say it. I do think Morehead State's live in that game. I don't know if I would go as far to pick it in my bracket, but yeah, Morehead State is definitely. I'll have some more info on that when I put out my written content and a little bit more on the bracket video tomorrow. But I definitely think Morehead State's live to win that game. Do you think Kentucky is good enough defensively? I do not, Mike. When I look for teams to fade in March Madness, teams to fade in the bracket, number one has to be the teams that are really bad defensively, and Kentucky falls into that category. Illinois falls into that category as well. Kentucky, they're 19th overall on KenPom, but they're 108th in defense. We've never seen a team with that bad of a defense win the national title. Only one time, I think, a team with that bad a level of defense has made the Final Four, and it was last year with Miami, and they just ran extremely hot, got really lucky, should have lost their first game to Drake. They just got lucky. I mean, they were down 8 points with 6 minutes left in the game, and Drake just choked. So, yeah, I'll be fading Kentucky. I'll be much lower than Kentucky than consensus. I will not have them advancing far in my brackets, and I will not have Illinois advancing far in my brackets either. So those are two teams I'm going to take a stand against. Alabama falls into that category as well. Team I'll take a stand against, and I just will not pick to go super far. I will say, though, Alabama, I'm not going to pick them because I don't pick that style of team. But Alabama is the one team that's in the region where anything can happen. That region, they have North Carolina, who's the weakest number 1 seed. They have Arizona, who is not a weak 2 seed, but they're just a team that we've seen struggle in the tournaments before. Tommy Lloyd is a relatively new coach with their program. He's winless against the spread in the NCAA tournament. Arizona's coach with Arizona as head coach has never covered a spread in the NCAA tournament. I think he's 0-4. I think he's played 4 tournament games. They lost early to Princeton last year. So, you have those two as your 1 and 2. And like I said, UNC is a weak 1 relative to the other ones, and they have a tough draw. I mean, they have to play Michigan State or Mississippi State in the second round. I think that's one of the better 8-9 games. So anything can happen in that region. So, St. Mary's is a good team. New Mexico is a very, very underseeded 11. I don't love Baylor. So, I don't know. The West region is absolute chaos. And I would not be shocked if you got some random team make the Final Four out of that region. So that's the one thing working in Alabama's favor. If Alabama was in the East, I'd pick them to lose in probably the first or second round. But I don't know. Things change because that region is weird. But Kentucky and Illinois is in the toughest region, and then Kentucky has some tough opponents too. So I'm completely fine fading them. Alabama, I will fade, but I got to figure out when and where because that region is just chaotic. TCU against Utah State. Yeah, I think TCU is a nightmare matchup for Utah State. TCU, I believe, is favored in the game by a couple points. Let me find that. Yeah, -2.5. I would be fine. I'll lay that 2.5 with TCU. I haven't bet it yet, but I might add that to my card. I think TCU is going to win by 8 or 9 points over Utah State. Really, really like TCU in that matchup. I do not think Utah State matches up well with TCU. So I think that's a good game for the Frogs to move on for sure. All right, let me switch over. Let's look at some futures odds stuff. Sweet 16. Again, like I said, Arizona is -325 to make the Sweet 16 in the West region. -325. They're the number 2 seed. Let's go down to North Carolina, who's the number 1 seed. They're -205. Arizona is -325. North Carolina is -205. Vegas is telling us that they do not like this North Carolina team. They don't believe in this North Carolina team as much as the public does. North Carolina's right now, public pick percentage, North Carolina is the 3rd most popular champion pick, but they're only -205 to make the Sweet 16, right? Who's another 1 seed? Purdue. They're -430. That's a big difference. UConn, where are they at? They're -650. That's a big, big difference. Houston. They're -430, right? So we're talking about over a 400, over a 400, and over a 600 to make the Sweet 16. And then you go to North Carolina, and they're -205. Vegas does not like this North Carolina team. You can see that in the title odds as well. If we just pull that up, national champion, North Carolina is the 1 seed in their region. They have significantly worse odds than Arizona to win the national title. So that is very noteworthy to me when North Carolina is being picked at the rate that they are right now. So that automatically, before I even dive in to everything and create, what I'm going to write, that right there tells me North Carolina is going to be a good fade for us in our bracket pools if they continue to get picked at the third highest rate of a champion. Vegas has 4 teams above them to win the national title, and Vegas doesn't even, feel that confident in them making the Sweet 16. So North Carolina early looks like a good fade. Is Vegas scared of Izzo? Yeah, I think Mississippi State is a good team too. I don't know who's going to win that game. I would guess it's Izzo just because of his tournament success and all that stuff. You can see here they're 17-1 to win the region. And I've already laid out, I don't like this team as much. I don't like Baylor. Baylor is not good enough defensively for me to fall in love with them. Same can be said for Alabama. I don't like them. So if we just eliminate these 3 teams, we're looking at Arizona, who's the 2, St. Mary's. I guess you could make a case for them, maybe. And then you have Michigan State and New Mexico. So if you're not, I think a good move, again, this isn't nothing final. I'm just talking out loud here. I think a good move maybe would be to if we take Arizona in our brackets and then we bet these teams. We throw sprinkle bets on these 3 teams to win the region, and we put Arizona in our bracket, and we just hope it's not these 3 teams. I think that could be something I look to do, but we'll see. Colorado versus Boise. I like Colorado. I think Colorado matches up extremely well with Boise, specifically down low. I think this Colorado team has pedigree. They have multiple NBA players on their roster. Boise's been a scrappy team all year that's played well against good teams, but this Colorado team has pedigree, and they match up really well, specifically down low against Boise. I like Colorado. I think Colorado could win a couple games, like maybe. They didn't get a great draw, but I definitely like Colorado over Boise. A popular stat I will say is also the play-in team. At least one play-in team has gotten to the round of 32. I think every year except for one, maybe since they started doing it. So kind of trying to decipher which team that would be is interesting. Early look for me. If Tyler Kolek is fully healthy, I like Marquette. So I don't want to go against them, and I'm not going against any ones. So it would probably have to be whoever plays Tennessee and hope that they beat them. Not Tennessee. What am I looking at here? Texas, rather. Whoever plays Texas. I don't know. I might like whoever plays Florida. I was looking at it backwards. Whichever playing teams plays Florida, I will be picking them. Florida, I like, but they take a big hit with their big men out. Especially when offensive rebounding is something that Florida relies on extremely heavily. And they've impressed me this season. Todd Golden impressed me as a coach. But I would be completely fine. I think Florida will lose round 1. So that's probably the play-in team I'll pick. The one against Texas, I guess, is a toss-up. I can't figure Texas out. They should be good, but they're not. They're significantly worse on defense than they were last year, which really, really hurts them. I know they didn't have Dessou healthy last year, and they do this year, but the defensive metrics on Texas are just not good. They're outside the top 60 in defensive efficiency on KenPom. It's really bad for Texas. Texas Tech versus NC State. Yeah. When I looked last night, I thought NC State would be more popular than they were. Let's look at the betting stats here. So 75% of the bets and money on NC State early, so super popular pick considering that they're underdogs in the game. They were 5.5 last night. That's moved down to 4.5. I like Texas Tech in that game. I think Texas Tech is the better team. I love DJ Burns. He's extremely fun to watch. He's like a lovable guy. Like, I don't know how you couldn't root for him. He's always smiling, having fun. So I like this NC State team, but I like Texas Tech over them. And I think Texas Tech could win multiple games. Like, Kentucky was like the number one team that I just said I'm probably going to be lower on. So whoever wins that Texas Tech NC State game, I would be fine picking over Kentucky in round 2. So yeah, kind of like Texas Tech a little bit. Yeah, I think TJ, I do think Warren Washington's supposed to play based off what I saw. Nothing confirmed, but they, from what I was looking at last night when we were on the spaces, they seemed like optimistic that he would be able to play. So hopefully that is the case, because that would be a big factor for Texas Tech. Yes. Let me go back to the Sweet 16 odds. I think Gonzaga is slightly interesting, but plus 132 is just not doing it for me. So that's a pass. Those odds are not high enough for me. Like I just said, we want to fade Kentucky. So Texas Tech or NC State could be good Sweet 16 bets. Let's see here. Texas Tech is plus 194. I have to imagine you could get a plus 200, a 2-1 out there, which is interesting. NC State, I'm sure, significantly higher, given that they're 4.5-point underdogs. Yeah, plus 490. Both those are worthy shots, I think, because I think Kentucky could get upset. If you get a 2-1 on Texas Tech, that's interesting. I really like Marquette at minus 120, minus 130. You could probably get a minus 125, minus 120 somewhere. I like Marquette. I like this Marquette team. I'm probably going to ladder them. So I'm going to put 2 units on the Sweet 16 and then like a unit on the Elite 8 and a half a unit on the region. I like Marquette. Let's see what their region odds are here. Here we go. Yeah, plus 500. So yeah, Marquette early to me is looking like a Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four ladder. And just pray to God that Tyler Kolek is healthy. Like, they basically said he's going to play, but we're not going to know how healthy he is until they play on. I think they play Friday. So we're not going to know for sure until he actually plays. But let's ladder Marquette up and pray to God that Kolek is ready to go. Yeah, McNeese and Gonzaga. That's the most interesting first round game, I feel like. I don't know. I got to do more research on it. I like this McNeese team a lot, but the metrics love this Gonzaga team. And I hate when people are like, okay, we're going to everyone's going to be on McNeese. Like, you can't take him. Like, it's never like McNeese is never going to be a more popular pick in bracket pools than Gonzaga. Like, even last night, it was like 60-30. So I think people are overestimating how many people like even pay attention to anything. But the metrics love this Gonzaga team, and if McNeese ends up a 35%, 40% pick, I would be fine just riding Gonzaga. I don't know. Dom, you're in the chat still. What do you think between McNeese Gonzaga? Because I do like this McNeese team, but it's like I don't know. It's kind of tough to figure out. Kolek did play banged up last year, I think. Yeah. If he's fully healthy at all, I think they have the best chance in that region to get to the Final Four if he is healthy. So getting them at 5-1 is like really nice. Love Zags. Yeah, I thought that spread would be bigger too. I agree. I think I'm gonna ride the Zags over the chalky McNeese pick, even though I do like this McNeese team. It's such a fun story. But I'm just not quick to I'm not quick to believe it. I don't know. And I rode McNeese all year. Yeah. I know. I don't know. I'm hesitant to fully buy in. I think it's probably Gonzaga. Let's see here. Well, let's take a look at the odds. Gonzaga's 10-1 to make the Final Four. Creighton's 5-1. I mean, those are my two favorite picks from that region to get there. So I could see laddering one of them. But I didn't like those odds on Gonzaga really Sweet 16. So I'd probably just go Elite 8, Final Four on them. And Creighton, kind of the same, just because I am Creighton's path is good if they can get past Akron. I just am a little bit worried about that one. But last year, if you guys were around last year, that was one of my biggest wins was we laddered up Creighton, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four. They made it to the Elite 8, lost by 1 point to San Diego State. They should have won that game. They should have went to the Final Four. So I think Marquette is my team this year to do that with. And then definitely take some shots in this West region. I don't like UNC right now. And I mean, I do like Arizona, but I mean, they just have never proven it to me under Tommy Lloyd in this tournament. So definitely could be some chaos. I don't like Baylor. I don't like Alabama. St. Mary's, New Mexico, Michigan State, all those teams are live to go to the Final Four. And you're getting some really, really good odds on their Final Four stuff. I'm sure you're getting good odds on Elite 8. Let me see. Like New Mexico, for example, if they could get to the Elite 8. I don't think they even have it up, it looks like. Yeah, I don't see it. What about even Sweet 16? I mean, I guarantee you're getting like 3-1 on New Mexico Sweet 16. Let me see. Yeah, plus 250. And Michigan State, I'm sure, is crazy. 3-1, basically. Elite 8 for Michigan State is, yeah, plus 630. So I don't know. West looks like the chaos region to me, and I'm probably fine taking Arizona in my brackets and then putting some bets in on some of these other teams. But all right, we've been on here for 50 minutes. Long stream today. Tomorrow we'll be back, same time, same place, 3 p.m. We're going to be talking NIT bets tomorrow. We're going to be talking playing game bets tomorrow. Sign up, betkarma.com/pricing if you want access to my betting cards, the tools, moneyline predictor, spread predictor, total predictor, all that good stuff. If you sign up, it'll carry you into baseball as well. I will have my premium for premium only regional previews out tonight with trends, my pool of teams I'm considering, Cinderella teams I'm fading, teams that can make Sweet 16 runs, all that good stuff. That'll be out tonight. Bracket video will be out tomorrow, stream tomorrow, and then I'll put my actual brackets that I'm playing in my pools for premium members in the Discord as well. So shout out to everyone for hanging out in here today. Appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. There's no college to bet on tonight. So normally I say good luck on your bets. Good luck if you're betting on NBA or NHL tonight. But tomorrow we'll be locked in with the NIT and the playing games. So good luck, everyone. Have fun filling out your brackets. And I'll see everyone tomorrow at 3 p.m.